welcome to wrestling, and it's been a few weeks, guys, and we're excited to have you here. Today, we are going to talk about wrestling and Ring of Honor, but a little more specifically here, we usually do a full deep dive into the history. We aren't going to do all that with this topic because Ring of Honor is in the news for a different reason than its history, or maybe it is because of its history, but we're going to talk about a lot of stuff pertaining to the recent purchase of Ring of Honor by none other than Mr. Tony Kahn himself. It was huge news on Wednesday, and everyone's interested in what Tony Kahn will do with this kind of partially defunct promotion. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a bunch of other stuff. We're going to have some Revolution predictions, the New Japan Cup, Vince McMahon interview, some other interviews, some news, and all that good stuff. Before we get into it, let's say hi to Mr. In-Ring Art at In-Ring Art. Justin, how are you, Justin?
I'm doing well. I can't keep up with all this stuff that's going on right now, though.
There's a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's like the modern world of wrestling. There's the internet. There's constant news. Like, there's new matches constantly every week. Oh, did you miss this match from Europe? You know?
Yeah, it's just nuts, but it's good. Whatever you can get, you watch and you enjoy, I guess.
It's a little bit easier for a single guy than a family man, I'll tell you that. And I know that from experience.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So, what do you think about this? This Tony Kahn buys Ring of Honor, as the headlines say. Did you watch the announcement live?
I did, and I have to say I wasn't really expecting that. I was expecting more of maybe a Super Show announcement or something to that effect with New Japan or something like that, I guess, would have been gun to my head what I was guessing. But there's a lot of different directions that they can go with this. Ring of Honor has a lot of archive footage that I'm actually kind of surprised that WWE didn't try and secure, because a lot of the WWE talent has a lot of archives that they could use for a lot of their, programming and DVD. Well, they don't do DVDs anymore, but you know what I mean. Documentaries. I bet you they were dying to have that footage. And if you watch, like, for example, the CM Punk DVD they did a few years ago, that had Ring of Honor footage on it now. So in a way, it kind of does shut off, block WWE from getting that library. And the library is a big thing, I think. He can also relaunch the promotion, and I think he will in some form get that going again. And just, hopefully he hires some creative help to help him with that. And, maybe this is where someone like William Regal can step in and help or something like that. And
yeah,
he's been signing all this talent, and now he's got another place that they can do stuff and just keeps more people with jobs.
Well, so that I heard you say that, and I kind of wanted to clarify there that no one is working for Ring of Honor right now.
Right, but it allows. That's the thing. I didn't know they defuncted all the contracts.
Yeah, this
isn't like it's like when they bought WCW. He bought the intellectual property. That's my understanding. Right?
Yeah, because like what we know is so far is that he's not hiring any or continuing contracts. He's not, hiring Ian Riccaboni, the announcer, back or anything like that right now, because those people are not contracted. But in the case that the promotion does do stuff, and I think they have a show coming up actually, Super Card of Honor.
He bought a building that he can put some people in.
Yeah.
If he decides to revive it, or if look, I do think at some point TNT, TBS is going to demand more programming out of them. And if they do, he's got something that he can give them.
Well, but honestly, though, would you ever give more programming to TBS or TNT under the Ring of Honor name? That seems like a huge mistake, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess if you did it like a Saturday night show, that's Ring of Honor or whatever, but maybe they'll make it a developmental territory. Who knows?
Yeah.
You have AEW Dark. Maybe you can just convert that into Ring of Honor. There's a lot of things you can do with it, but I think the number one thing is with all that archives, with legendary matches that people have talked about as this underground promotion that it was, and the punk rock promotion it kind of was. We're talking about a lot of stuff that he can maybe entice a streaming service to take on. And Ring of Honor has a streaming service, right, already?
The Honor Club.
The Honor Club. Maybe, see, this is the thing where I don't know what he works out with TNT TBS, but if there's a way to get some AEW footage onto that existing streaming service, I don't know. I mean, I think he's got something armed. Like, he could go to an HBO Max. He can go to a Hulu, or, I'm looking at Tubi or something like that, and say, hey, I have X amount of hours of footage. I have 15 years of footage from this company. I have everything from AEW. Let's get something going and get a streaming service going. Because I think at some point, they're going to have to, because the $50 a pay-per-view model, although it's only 5 times a year with them, eventually it's going to fall off.
Why do you think that's the case? Because UFC's been doing even more expensive pay-per-views and selling more pay-per-views year after year. Same thing with boxing. Is it because WWE has kind of ruined the idea of pay-per-views and now we feel like they're not worth as much anymore?
I just think that people know how to pirate them now.
Well, people know how to pirate UFC though, and again, they're doing awesome.
I don't. Come on, they can't be. I mean, who the hell is UFC?
We're
even
talking
that big
like
right now?
they're bigger than WWE.
Well, I know that, but
we're talking millions of buys for when Conor McGregor's on their show.
Charging, yeah, but when's the last time he fought?
But I mean, there's other guys like Masvidal too. I mean, they're doing good.
How often do they fight though? Like every month they do.
They have a
UFC,
monthly
right?
pay-per-view. Now, not everyone is huge, but I mean, they sell them for what, like $70, and you have to have a Fight Pass subscription, or excuse me, an ESPN Plus subscription. So
you have to pay $70 and have
the ESPN Plus, yeah. So
wow, that blows me away, because I don't really know. I know people that watch them, but I don't know anyone that's shelling out $70 for those things.
And then if you're a bar, you have to pay even more.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe a lot of sports bars and stuff get them, but no, I think they're gonna look. I think that a streaming service, at least with archive stuff. And maybe, you get Dynamite a week later, or the pay-per-view goes there 2 weeks after, and you pay $10 a month. I think they're going to, or they could just do, it's like, would you rather have a bunch of people pirate it, or, have someone pay $10 a month? I can't hear you.
I don't know necessarily, because I can't really see into their metrics, right? Like, you have to look at what their numbers are, because I kind of like the idea of making a pay-per-view like this more valuable thing. I kind of like that idea from a business perspective. I mean, now as a consumer, yeah, I'd love to pay $10 a month, but at the same time, like, there's something kind of cool about this $50 gate that's like, yeah, me and a couple friends have to get together to watch it. It kind of makes it a little more valuable.
Something just occurred to me too, though. Think about this. When WWE had the network going, now it's what, $5 or $6 a month to have Peacock.
Yeah.
But WWE is asking you to pay $10 a month, but AEW is asking you to pay $50 every 3 or 4 months. So maybe it's pretty much the same thing in a way.
Yeah, I guess when you think of it that way, it is kind of true. Now, you get a pay-per-view every month with WWE, but
and plus you have access to their archives and whatnot. So maybe in a way he bought it to keep it away from WWE.
Yeah. So, well, getting back into that Ring of Honor thing, I honestly think that branding almost anything with Ring of Honor would not be a good idea. Now, if you said like house shows, stuff like that, or developmental, I could kind of understand that a little more. But AEW is so much more of a valuable and catchy brand than Ring of Honor. I mean, New Japan is a better name than Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor hasn't really been what you would say relevant in a couple of years. I'd say since like 2016 in my eyes.
So why do you think he bought it?
I think it's kind of like you said. I think it's that tape library, man. You know?
Yeah.
Now, you got to think, what other things is he getting, right? He gets probably a few wrestling rings, right? I mean, the physical stuff, I guess that could be important. Maybe production equipment. I don't know if that belongs to the former company that owned them or if it, but I think the tape library is huge because you can like do the backgrounds of all these wrestlers now that used to be in Ring of Honor, and a ton of wrestlers used to be in Ring of Honor. So
now I will say this: we don't know how much he paid, do we?
Don't know how much he paid, so we don't know if he got a steal or if he overpaid.
It's a rich guy that has the money, and if he can probably afford to lose a little bit on it, so he's just got a new toy, and if he wants to revitalize the promotion, I'm sure a lot of people will be on board for that. I mean, how many people that were in Ring of Honor right now? I mean, what are the prize people? Like the Briscoes, Bandito.
Yeah, Marty Scurll. Or excuse me, not him because he's not in Ring of Honor. No.
He's in that Change Your Narrative or something maybe.
Yeah, no, sorry. I meant Matt Taven, the Kingdom kind of group. So, yeah, there's actually a lot of them. Cheeseburger, the Beer City Bruiser.
There's a handful of talents that are still somewhat attached to it, right?
Yeah. There's champions. Deonna Purrazzo is champion.
Right. I mean, maybe he makes it like some kind of indie-style promotion that just tours like a GCW or something. I don't know. Which it kind of was towards the end anyway.
Yeah. I just think, like, why wouldn't you just call that AEW, But if he wants to set it apart.
My friend messaged me about it. What is with this Ring of Honor thing? Really, he didn't know much about what Ring of Honor was. And I said, well, it was this promotion that a lot of guys in AEW, New Japan, and WWE went through in the early zeros to the mid zeros it was when his heyday was about the mid zeros. And, it's a lot of archive footage. He's buying the intellectual property. He's not actually buying a functioning, full-going promotion that would merge with AEW. He's buying intellectual property and archive footage, which he can use to take to a streaming service at some point. I mean, that's step one.
You can always sell that stuff somehow, and I think he has the Honor Club now and that whole online platform. Yeah. So
he has an already built out online platform that maybe this is where I don't know what he has going with TBS TNT, where maybe he can start putting some AEW stuff on it.
Yeah, and I was wondering that as well, but you could easily change the name of Honor Club to AEW World or whatever. You already have a bunch of subscribers, and you're going to get a bunch of new subscribers. Say you put Dynamites there a week later, and then Dark and Dark, the other Dark, just go on there right away, or are live on there. You could put them live on there. So that seems like a real valuable proposal to me. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, at what point? What do you think is more valuable? Would it be Impact at this point, or? Because, you already have a little bit of crossover with Impact and AEW. We really weren't getting any, per se, with Ring of Honor when it was existing with AEW, were we?
Well, no, because they were only really... Ring of Honor, legitimately shut down during the pandemic and kept paying its guys. So, I mean, but before that, no, there was no crossover. Ring of Honor was working with New Japan quite a bit in 2015 to 2000 whatever, and that was their main, partner. And I just want to add that what I've heard is that the quote-unquote heyday of Ring of Honor was actually when the Young Bucks and AJ Styles were there. I
was just thinking of that Samoa Joe, CM Punk,
Daniel
Bryan, Bryan Danielson era. Nigel McGuinness.
Yeah, I guess they had like multiple different, quote unquote heydays, right? I mean, but I do believe that their biggest sales were during kind of the New Japan crossover. I mean, their biggest show ever was the Madison Square Garden show, but
the co-branded show, and we're not too many years removed from that, and they were really America's kind of introduction to the Bullet Club, right?
Yeah. I mean, all sorts of stuff. I remember seeing Evil's debut at a Ring of Honor show, like on a baseball field. That's when Evil debuted as Evil instead of Watanabe. So yeah, there was like Omega wrestled there, AJ Styles wrestled there, the Young Bucks. But it's cool because you another thing is you always have those old videos on hand. So now you want to do a Road to or whatever, or what do they call it? Road to, I'm getting my shows mixed up, but if they do a Road to Revolution and they want to talk about CM Punk, okay, now on those promo videos, we're going to see him, cutting promos in 2005 or whatnot. So,
well, let's say you sign Samoa Joe and you have a CM Punk Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Match or whatever, or program, then you have all that archive footage that you can throw on with no questions asked, I guess. That's a very specific example of what they could do with it.
But they can do that with all sorts of situations. So,
But my theory is he got it on the cheap. And
I bet you he did.
And he probably doesn't know exactly what he's going to do with it yet. He probably has a lot of ideas because I think Tony Khan, his brain moves a mile a minute. There's nothing that he has a lot of ideas, but nothing he's committed to doing with it just yet.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I think I agree with that. We'll see how it plays out. He could always do Ring of Honor shows rebranded as AEW shows, just like he does NWA or WCW Battle of the Belts, right? And so you could always see AEW's Super Card of Honor. And another, a great idea I heard, and I think you might like this too, is you can do, instead of the pay-per-views, they have 4 pay-per-views, you can do a big-time show. You can do 2 hours on the Honor Club and 1 hour on TBS or something like that. So you have a full 3-hour show. Of course, it would be called AEW World or whatnot. That's the working title, but yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too, is everything's already uploaded to that platform. So it's not like you can have someone go in and build you an online streaming service platform, probably pretty cheap. But the fact that everything's already uploaded and all that, it's just sign into that one and
you would think it would be easy and cheap, but WWE has been fucking up for years. I mean, dude, before there was issues with the WWE network forever, and then they changed their platform and there were new issues. Then they went to Peacock, and now it's harder to find stuff.
That's because they started with a bunch of footage sitting in a warehouse that they had to get onto the system originally.
Yeah.
Right? And then for whatever reason, when they went to Peacock, they had to re-upload everything again instead of just, I don't know why there wasn't a simple conversion to get that done. I have no idea how these things work. But you'd think there'd just be a streamlined way to do it, but I guess there isn't. But, they literally had to start with archive footage that's just sitting in their warehouse with just
all
millions
these
of hours worth of
all
stuff.
these shows from way back in the day. Hey,
and
I was gonna say maybe next Tony Khan will buy Dave Meltzer's garage, then make that into a streaming platform, and then Matt McCarthy will be very happy, right?
Oh, absolutely. He just wants that preserved and saved, and who can blame him? There's probably a lot of good stuff in there that people haven't seen in
you
years.
Remember when there was that Bret Hart video that was long lost, Bret Hart versus McGee, and I think
Tom McGee.
Meltzer was always like, no, it's somewhere in my garage. Go look for it, motherfucker.
Yeah, seriously. You'd think he would want to find that, and do something with
He
it.
was like, no, I'm busy writing. So, this is an interesting thing, man. It's an interesting situation. It's not what we expected. My rumor that I heard to you, and I told you, was that they made an HBO Max deal. And that was the rumors coming from WWE talent. So,
can I tell you something, though? Like, after hearing that, it sounds awesome, and I'd be all over it, but why would HBO Max want that?
well, any streaming platform wants new content to drive new customers. I mean, that's
Yeah,
that's as simple
I
as that.
guess so.
And HBO Max is starting to be a leading. Well, it's nothing compared to Netflix or Disney Plus, but it's definitely doing a lot better than Peacock.
Well, Peacock is terrible. I mean,
Peacock does kind of suck. Law and Order, though, that's good.
well, no, I got The Office, but I'm just saying, like, we watch a lot of Peacock because we were just started watching The Office because our kids are kind of watching it again.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'll play an episode, and I watch it on my PlayStation 4 in our bedroom, which
At least they have an app, right?
Internet signal. I watch Tubi a lot because they have a lot of British TV I like to watch, and I never have any. I watch Netflix on it. I watch Hulu and Tubi, which is free. And I watch stuff on there. I never have any freezes or skips or anything. I watch an episode and a half of Office, 10 minutes of The Office, and it freezes, and I have to quit. It happens all the time, and it's
Really?
only with Peacock. Yeah. So Peacock, there's something wrong with their service.
I haven't had those issues, but I don't use it on a PS4. So usually it works okay on my phone. I just think their content is just the most random shit. Like, and most of the stuff is on Netflix anyways, so...
Well, at least they have, like, all the Harry Potters, but so does HBO Max. But HBO is always going to have their original programming that people
Well,
like,
dude, and that original programming is so good. Like, if it was just the original programming, I'd probably still buy HBO Max just to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and Oz. And
The Wire.
The Wire and The Sopranos. Yeah.
So, I mean, that they have just the biggest heavy lifters that is enough to draw people. I mean, and they have all the Harry Potters, too, and all that stuff. But what is the Time Warner? Is that still on TBS?
No, okay, now I don't remember, dude, because I was just looking this stuff up recently.
Because I'm like, what's the parent company of Time Warner, and what streaming service is attached to them?
So TBS is owned by HBO. And HBO is owned by Warner Media. Yep.
Warner Media. So HBO would be their streaming service, or would it be that CBS, whatever they have?
What a clusterfuck, huh?
No, seriously, because how deep into the weeds are we going with this? But it is interesting to break down. I mean, listen, like, you know, WWE went to Peacock, which is Universal, but Universal does own USA Network, right? Mm-hmm. So somehow they went to a property of their... So maybe this is just something that gets them... This purchase just makes them look better for that parent company.
They do also have a show on Fox, though, which is a different thing. But... yeah, it is.
WWE, yeah. It
is a little confusing because there's so many subsidiaries of companies, and then the subsidiaries are buying other companies, and then the big, and they're all, like, CW is owned by CBS and Warner. So it's like, what do you do there? So it is a little bit confusing of a net, but it is a good question. Thing is, though, I think that any content, like, no matter who makes it or whatnot, like, if it's for sale, I think it's just for sale. Now, you'll get better deals if you go with someone in-house, but, I mean, I think that it's generally up for grabs, I think. Unless it's in the contract that it's not. Certain places can't get it, so.
Well, AEW definitely has a way to go before they develop what I guess you can call nostalgia content.
Yeah. That's true.
So they got 4 or 5 years to go before people are like, "Oh my God, could you remember that match from 2008?"
Well, hang on, they own All In now,
so they do have those,
and that is a big one. All In is totally part of AEW's history, so right. And that's a big one too to own All In. So I mean, but it only matters if you can get money from it, if you can sell it. If you're just going to own it and do nothing with it, it doesn't matter at all. So
it just beefs up his resume. He went to the local community college and picked up a certificate or a degree that just makes his resume look a little stronger. And, and plus, hey, man, if you had that kind of money too, maybe you'd say, hey, I'm going to buy Ring of Honor. Let's see what happens. Why not?
I know, like you said, he probably got a deal on it. It's not even like an active, really much of a company, so it must have been cheap. We're not talking about Activision being bought by Microsoft here,
No, it was. I would probably compare it to a similar deal that Vince McMahon got for buying WCW back in 2001 or 2002.
Yeah, which I heard he bought it for so little it was like the stupidest price ever.
It was like $2 million or something, or maybe I don't know. Well, but yeah, we'll have AEW will get relaunch. I mean ROH, and you'll have Shane McMahon do a simulcast saying that he really bought it.
No, they already said that Shane's not there, remember?
I know.
So.
No, Shane's not in AEW, right?
Yeah, well, he said Shane's not here. Shane's not here. Yeah, I was just looking at some other stuff. Okay. All In is in the Ring of Honor library, yep. So that there you go. So the bottom line is he's bought the library, intellectual property, a couple of rings, maybe some championship belts that he can do something with. Maybe he can have some kind of unification tournament. And just another place where if he launches a brand that people can work. And he has been signing a lot of people lately, right? Tony Khan has been, giving out a lot of contracts. So there you go. You got a piece of toast that you can spread the butter a little thinner on, a little bigger piece of toast now. There you go. Oh, that kind of made me hungry by you saying that just now, but
toast top.
No, but I agree, man. So I guess it's one of those things we can sit and talk about it all day, but what we're really only going to find out about it in the near future, or maybe in the long future. Obviously, Tony Khan is worried about Revolution right now, and we'll find out what this is all going to turn into eventually and what's going on in that madman's head. Now, I'll say this, he was kind of funny on the mic. Did you, what did you think about him on the mic? Because, he's not a natural wrestling promo guy.
No, I mean, he's like, if you give one of us the mic, I mean, he's not a natural, like...
I think I'm better than
entertainer and speaker. But
it was just kind of funny. You could tell a wrestler told him, like, all right, yell really loud and act excited.
Yeah, he was just having fun. That's how you'd expect, like, the owner of a company that doesn't have experience doing what the company does.
Yeah, like Steve Ballmer
exactly
from
how
Microsoft.
You act.
So
yeah, I don't expect him to be taking promo lessons or anything like that. Like, he should be like that. He should be I think he's exactly how the owner of that type of company should be. He should look like he doesn't really belong there because he doesn't want to be in that mix at all.
So you think Vince McMahon was a special case then?
He was a play-by-play announcer.
But I mean, the dude was ripped too.
Yes, but of course that was a little bit of a different thing. But he was also just, I mean, Tony Khan technically is the owner with the same role, but the whole way that came about, because Vince didn't always want to be acknowledged as the owner. Don't forget, like, Vince McMahon wasn't acknowledged on television as the owner of WWE or WWF at the time until probably around the time of the Montreal Screwjob.
Yeah, when he kind of came out in the forefront. And
and that's a lot of years before that. We're talking 12, 13 years of it.
Well, but we also weren't like part of the wrestling community in the same way back then, because if we were, we would have known 100% because of the steroid trials.
If you were reading the Observer back then, you would have known, or if you were, had a subscription to the Torch, you probably knew, or whatever. But the definite casual average fan did not know Vince McMahon was the owner.
So let's use this to segue right over to that. You didn't have a chance to watch the Vince McMahon interview by Pat McAfee?
I saw some bits and pieces of it, but I heard it was really good and gave a pretty good insight into the company.
It was really good. Really good, actually. It was like kind of weird at points. Like,
it seems like I heard he was giving a lot of softball questions to him, right?
I don't think it was all that. He did ask him like some more serious stuff. But the one nice thing was that like Vince actually like acted like a normal dude, and he was cussing. Like I remember he was talking about Brock Lesnar. He's like, yeah, he's fucking smart, man. So he dropped his professional guard, if you will. But some of the information in there was pretty wild. So I mean, he talks a lot about like his the territory days, right? And he was saying that like
from when he put them all out of business.
Yeah, it was exactly. And he was saying that like he had multiple hits on attempts or people that wanted to kill him, dude.
Oh, of course, man. I mean, he put them all out of business.
So he was talking about Jim Ross was on the shitter. I think he even said that. And he heard people come. Jim Ross heard these guys come in, and they were talking about how, like they knew people that could kill him and stuff. And Jim Ross stood on the toilet like to hide his feet. And
what year was that? Was that before Jim Ross was working with WWF?
Yeah, that's when it happened. And then Jim Ross told Vince about it years later, and Vince was like, "Well, thanks for telling me now." So that was pretty funny. They cut a little angle. It was kind of cheesy. They offered Pat McAfee a match at WrestleMania because
Pat McAfee is just so cheesy. And plus, like when I see a guy, listen, I'm not a stickler for professional appearance. Like I hate suits, I hate ties, I hate collared shirts.
But
I'll keep going. I'll keep going and tell you all the other dress shoes I refuse to wear. Vans and Nikes are my dress shoes now, man. I'm just too old to have to deal with that stuff. But when I see a guy just standing at his desk doing interviews in a tank top,
he doesn't even sit down. He like stands. It's like I do the standing desk. It's I think it's like ADHD. He stands and sits and stands and acts really energetic.
Yeah, and I see why Vince likes that, and I love the enthusiasm that he has sometimes with Pat McAfee. And just like whenever you see someone that's truly enjoying their job, it does make you maybe enjoy what they're doing more.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I just see it as like, this is just too much.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a regular fan of his show. I knew someone that was, though, this hockey guy that I knew that was always watch his show, but it is kind of funny with the...
Look, he's got a lot of crossover value. I mean, he gets a lot of legit sports stars and athletes and coaches on there that you can create a crossover audience if the guy's involved in WWE. I understand why they use him. I'm not the hugest fan of him and all that, like I just kind of stated there, but his association with WWE, I think, is very helpful to them.
Yeah. I do think his commentary can definitely go overboard, but I do like when he goes. My favorite quote of him, and I can't quote him directly, is still when he's like, "Him and John Moxley, they went around town and beat people's asses." Anyways,
when did he say that?
Just when like the Shield kind of, they were talking about the Shield and whatever, but
and he said Moxley on there?
Yeah, he did say Mox. He said Mox. Ooh. No, I actually Seth Rollins mentioned Mox as well recently, but of course
I did hear that.
Of course, who's the other announcer with him? I forget his name. Michael Cole. He will not say Moxley though. So,
right.
Dean Ambrose in the WWE. So here was the thing about the interview that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, so Vince was talking about having to fire all these people and looking like a bad guy, right? And this was actually good advice. He was like, well, don't worry about looking like the bad guy. Like, just do your thing. Okay, I get that. That's not necessarily...
Well, it's a typical boss thing. And
yeah, but what kind of bothered me is he was like, yeah, and ever since we became public, it's kind of cool because... and I'm paraphrasing this, I'm not quoting him, but he basically said, like, before I would have to worry, like, yeah, this person's uncle had cancer, and, now it's basically everything I do is for the business. It's all business. So it's as if to say, like, hey, man, when we went public, it's cool because now I don't have to worry about people's personal lives anymore.
it seems like he felt more comfortable with making a business quote unquote decision than having to think about, I guess. But well, that's the thing. It's like you have the WWE has released and gotten rid of and fired, for lack of a better term, what, a quarter of their talent, half of their talent since the pandemic started,
with record
Yet-
profits.
with record profits.
More money than any wrestling company in the world. By far.
I mean, of course, and probably a lot of other entertainment companies and sports teams and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if he still had all that talent on the roster, how much lower would their profits be? We don't know, right? Obviously, they would be lower.
Not that much lower, but the thing is
not that much
and
lower.
Look, I question how I feel about the idea of going public in general with certain companies. That's not something we're going to get into, but I mean, the fact is when you do go public, you do have a responsibility to increase profits, and that is your sole responsibility.
Even have to answer to the stockholders.
Mm-hmm, even at the cost of things. And I think he was basically saying, yeah, like, now my sole responsibility is profits. And so, like, you know, that's always my go-to excuse. Like, hey, it's for the business. It's for money. And it's true. But, you know, maybe it's more of the stock market and the economy than him himself, because he does have a responsibility to his shareholders. And maybe it's a bigger issue than Vince McMahon, but it was kind of funny hearing him say, like, yeah, you know, I don't care as much about that stuff anymore because, you know, it's what's good for business. And he did talk about cutting people, you know, talked about all the recent cuts, and, you know, he just said, like, he basically said what's best for business. He takes a look at those people and he asks, like, are they going to be movers down the road? And I
will say this. I know we were talking about Ricochet and all that, and apparently he has won the Intercontinental title tonight.
What?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
But all in what seems to be a vehicle
for
to
Sami Zayn?
Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like the Intercontinental title means anything at all anymore, right?
Well, there was a rumor that he was going to make him the second babyface on SmackDown, so that's a start, I guess.
Let's look at this here. I'm trying to see. Ricochet wins the Intercontinental title okay, I'm just checking this out real quick. Let's go to the end. So, okay. Yes, live watch, people. Well, I'll watch it later, but it looks like Ricochet goes up there. Big pop for Ricochet, I'll say that, man. Guess what? Ricochet's over. Big surprise?
I mean, that was just a guy, like, once you gave him a prominent position, he was going to get the support from the fans.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, people would go, I don't know if he, beat Roman Reigns for the title or something, like, people would go nuts.
Wow.
I don't know how good that would be for business, but the wrestling, the marks and all that, the smarks and all that would love it.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Now, sorry, I'm like not talking because I'm kind of in shock by that. That is so cool that he did that. And then going off from that angle we talked about earlier, Austin Theory tells Pat McAfee he will be facing him at WrestleMania. Big money match. Big money match.
2 days.
Big money match.
Gotta fill 2 days. But you know what? I will say, like, McAfee's heel work he was doing in NXT was pretty good.
Well, we'll see how he is as a babyface now.
Wasn't he in a War Games match, too?
I don't remember, dude.
I know he had some kind of match where his work wasn't bad. They should just do McAfee and Bad Bunny at WrestleMania.
There you go. That might be a little better. Sorry, I like this little SmackDown YouTube clip title. Sheamus and Ridge Holland destroy Big E's ATV. So
that's not very nice.
No, but my question is also like, yeah, because Big E brought his ATV to work to show off, as you do, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you're
sure.
working in. Actually, it'd probably help you get around the arena a little easier too. And they had to go and destroy that. So, anyways, you see that WWE has a new show called Level Up. It's just
Does it have anything to do with up, up, down, down?
nothing at all. No, it's just. Remember when 205 Live stopped being about weights and everything like that?
No, is it still exist? 205
No,
Live?
they shut it down.
So, what do you mean it wasn't?
Like they
didn't
stopped.
have cruiserweights
No,
anymore?
yeah, they just had women on it and freaking heavyweights and stuff.
So it became like a main event?
It became a main event. So now Level Up is like the next 205 Live thing that they are doing. It's kind of funny looking at how amazing the Cruiserweight Classic is and how it turned into just
Well, that was
nothing.
the mistake they made, is they started filming it with like SmackDown and stuff and putting it in the same arenas. They should have just made it a studio show in Full Sail.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I think 205 would have been really good if it just was a studio show.
I agree. Actually, you know, those tournaments they had in the past, I was even looking at the Mae Young Classic, and like a lot of those girls have gone on to really awesome stuff. So
Yeah, and the Cruiserweight Classic is incredible.
well, that one was nuts. Was it Kota Ibushi, Cedric,
Zack Sabre Jr.
Cedric Alexander, TJP, like
Yeah.
yeah,
Grand Metalik.
and what's his name again? What's his name outside? Do you
Oh,
remember?
oh man, I don't know. In New Japan now?
yeah.
Or what he was in New Japan?
You know,
it
dude, when
slips my
he
mind.
used to be in New Japan, he was really, really awesome. And he wrestled in New Japan back in the day, in Japan.
Right.
So that,
He's got some strong dates coming, I think.
okay. You gonna go watch Grand
You know,
Metalik?
I got to say this. I was looking at that show in Texas, and they're going to have Mike Bailey and Jay White. That sounds awesome.
I did see that as well. Yeah, that sounds good. So we have a lot of stuff coming up WrestleMania weekend, and you can bet we will.
We'll talk about it as we get closer,
maybe
sure.
we'll end up doing a Sunday night show or something, and we'll cover everything during that week. Now I know we might have to assign each other shows because you know what I mean. Like you catch this show and I'll get this show because there's going to be too much stuff for just both of us to watch everything. So, but it's exciting. I guess I don't know his other name. Mascara Dorada.
There you go.
So, okay. So another podcast I heard today that I would say you have to listen to it, but I'll tell you about it, was the Keith Lee interview today. Did you hear news about that at all?
I heard something about that. He said something like Vince told him that his voice made him sound too smart for his own good, or something to that effect.
It was the exact same thing as Brody Lee, right? Because Brody, they said, they were like, yeah, you need to sound Southern and like angry.
Right.
And Brody's like basically said, like, I can't do a Southern accent. He's from New York, dude. And
yeah, from Rochester.
and he actually has like a very calm demeanor to him. So it's like it just didn't fit him. And Chris Jericho brought up, you know, the best wrestling persona, and I think you would agree with this, is you turned up a couple notches, right?
Yeah, that's the old Steve Austin thing too. Absolutely.
Yeah, man. And The Rock, Steve Austin, these even the best Japanese wrestlers, they are who they are, but just turned up to 11.
Right, an exaggerated version of yourself.
Yeah, and so this idea that they wanted Keith Lee to be this angry, you know, violent, and Keith Lee being a very calm, intelligent man was just like, yeah, I can't really do that unless someone beats me up or something. So,
and honestly, what made Vince McMahon's heel persona work?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it was him turned up.
It's like one of the basics to being getting a great character is really finding yourself. So, you know, sometimes there's examples where that's not exactly the case, but really you're going to put yourself in the character one way or the other. Even The Undertaker, as ridiculously different that was from the real Mark Calloway, really, they kind of became each other in the end. And don't forget, he did play the American Badass, which really was Mark Calloway turned up a notch.
Yeah, when he was the biker taker, that definitely was him that bursted out. But yeah, slowly but surely, he kept bringing parts of himself out, because he is a guy basically with a calm demeanor to begin with.
Yeah.
And man of few words, and that was what The Undertaker was.
Yeah.
So it kind of started with a few of his traits. But The Undertaker overall, he's going to Hall of Fame. Vince announced during that interview that he's going to induct him or whatever. But The Undertaker is going to be one of those things that just wouldn't have worked with anyone else, and is one of the last pure kind of, cheesy character ideas that actually turned out to be.
Well, from that era, definitely, where there was a new gimmick constantly, and it was the gimmick a week kind of thing. What do they call it? The box of gimmicks, right? So, most of those were pretty stupid, man. But yes, he managed to make that work to a T and ended up turning it into a legend. And eventually we'll do a show on him too, because love talking about The Undertaker and watching some of those old matches. It's just except his first couple years sucked, to be honest. They were real bad, dude.
And I've said it on the show before, I've never been the hugest Undertaker fan in general. But I do understand and appreciate his contributions, and
Yep. Hey, I'll tell you this, man. I listened to a great interview with Renee Paquette with Dax Harwood, right? And he was saying, this is FTR for the listeners, the bald one, that's Dax, right? And so he was talking about when he first met his tag team partner, Cash, at the Performance Center. You know what one of the first things he asked him is? He said, "Are you a Bret or a Shawn guy?"
That's what Undertaker?
No. This is what Dax asked Cash when they first met.
Right. They're big Bret guys.
Are you a Bret or a Shawn guy? He goes, "I'm a Bret guy," and he's like, "Ever since then, I knew he was perfect. He'd be a great partner."
John, are you a Bret or a Shawn guy?
I am a Shawn guy, but I'll tell you this, man. I love Bret, but Shawn, just I liked him as a kid. As an adult, I think his selling is some of the best ever. I think his offense is awesome, but he seems like a real shitty person, to be honest. And
I have the complete same answer as you, but with Bret, except for the shitty person thing.
Yeah, Bret.
I don't think
Bret
he's a shitty person anymore. By the way,
Bret is not a shitty person. Well, so the Dax interview, actually, he says that he had this like really personal talk with Shawn Michaels in NXT, right? And he was really feeling. And then when Shawn got around his friends, Sean Waltman and the NWO, he started making fun of Dax about the personal stuff they talked about. And he said that gave him a bad vibe. And he said the only person out of that crew that was nice to me was Sean Waltman. He was the only guy that like took time to talk to me and get to know me. So, I mean, you never know, man. But no, the Shawn Bret debate will forever rage on.
I'm a Bret guy, but I love Shawn too. And but we could do a whole show on Shawn versus Bret and get some guest on or something.
Yeah,
it's have it out.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those like, do you like the more Misawa type subtle badass that like doesn't need to necessarily scream out loud? He just goes in there and wrestles amazingly, or do you like the flamboyancy and the fireworks going off and
Sure.
So,
well, the sport of pro wrestling has room for both. I'll tell you that right now.
I thought you were talking about Chris Sampson's website, The Sport of Pro Wrestling.
Is that what it's called?
Do you know what that is?
Like
do you know what that is? Yeah, he does all the stats.
I don't know the website, but he knows all the stats. I know who Chris Sampson is, and I hear him sometimes on podcast, and yeah, he's pretty cool.
He's really good on G1 season, because he's the guy that'll tell you who needs to get a tie and who needs to win to...
Yeah, he's got all the math figured out. He's the sabermetrics guy.
Yeah.
He's Moneyball person for... New Japan.
Yeah. So maybe you should get a job at AEW doing their stats department. You know what I mean?
I saw they were hiring a social media coordinator.
Dude, you got to have at least 20,000 followers for that. That would be my guess, but maybe I'm wrong.
I don't know. Like I think it's more of the companies that you've worked for.
Oh yeah,
but I have social media in my resume and who cares? I don't really think with the word coordinator that it's going to pay that much anyway.
I've always wondered about getting,
and I don't have any interest in moving to Jacksonville, Florida either.
You'd have to move to Jacksonville?
I don't, just guessing.
Yeah, I've always wondered what that, because I've seen that job, like, and I know people that do it. I've always wondered how that works, but like the one guy I know that does do it became big out from his wrestling podcast and then became a social media coordinator. So maybe you could put this, once we get more listeners, which all you listeners right now, you're helping Justin become a social media coordinator. So
I had a title of social media assistant before my current job. So
did you really for the district?
Yeah.
Okay.
The district.
Now, were you one of those social media people that like posted, like gave your school a personality, gave the district a personality, and you were posting on Donald Trump posts and stuff?
No,
like Wendy's?
No. Well, actually, if you want to look into something that was great, it was when the LA Kings social media in the 11, 12 era was really like the first one that did that.
Oh, was having a real personality and saying maybe a little more risque things, being
a bit of a smart ass and all that stuff. But no, that's not an approach I would recommend to the schools and stuff that I was consulting.
You don't want parents, that's a more of a very serious thing. It is
sometimes with things I would see that I'd really want to use my sarcastic and smart ass side.
Yeah.
I did not do that, but
it's kind of become passé now, to be honest. I mean, it's almost like, like every company, like Dreyer's ice cream is like making sex jokes on their Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's not Dreyer, your wife. After it's like, dude, yeah. It's like, okay, like all I want you to do, craft mayonnaise, is talk about mayonnaise. We don't need you to make sex jokes. So it's became a little passe, but those were a few good interviews. So Keith Lee was talking about his Bearcat gimmick. He was like basically saying like, yeah, I know what that is, but it has nothing to do with me. He didn't get it. He was saying that do you remember on Survivor Series when he got really over?
Yeah,
he was saying that like they didn't expect that, and like Roman didn't expect it, and Seth didn't expect it and stuff. And they were all surprised, and he was saying that like they told him afterwards, like, yeah, these the WWE main universe fans are crazy. You never know what they'll do. They're so different than NXT. And it's like what gets over, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think when that stuff happens, they almost count it against them.
Bizarro world. Remember that phrase? When they boo Roman Reigns, they're like, "This is Bizarro World." The Raw after WrestleMania, which is like was always the coolest thing to watch, and now it's like, whatever. It's just another show.
Sometimes they have a mind of their own.
They just, who knows what they'll do. But I always thought AEW crowds would be like along with the product until the whole Cody thing happened. So
they have not been. Well, of course, they had a whole period of time where we didn't really see them or anything, but there was not a lot of hijacking. AEW fans don't tend to hijack.
They love just going with the show. They boo who they're supposed to.
But also, they don't get a lot of bullshit either.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Like,
I'm not in love with everything AEW does, but they totally don't do stuff that fans don't want.
They are generally
very simple formula.
They're very respectful to their fans in general, so
to their intelligence.
Yeah, they don't treat us like idiots. They know we have a memory, and so okay, so yeah. Oh,
it's not perfect, but for the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way as you. Like, it's not like the perfect promotion, but it's so much further along than WWE for being an American promotion that it's like almost wild. I wanted to tell you, so Keith Lee actually did get COVID, like real bad COVID.
He almost died.
So he was saying that he was having panic attacks, not being able to breathe, right? And then he was saying that he felt better, and he got better within days. and then they said like his blood was fucked up, so he wasn't able to wrestle again, and that's scary, man. And he is a big guy, you know, so.
Yeah, they said that. I think he talked about how he almost died. Like he had a really bad case of it.
Yeah, that's scary, man. But yeah, I didn't know. You know, obviously we're still learning about the long-term effects, and I didn't realize that it could mess with your blood.
Well, blood oxygen level, right?
That's true. That's true. If that is what it is that caused it, yeah. So.
I mean, I know blood clots and stuff like that too. I guess I don't know.
I think they were saying that. Remember, there was this big thing that the AstraZeneca caused blood clots, and then you find out it's like one in a million. Like
Right.
the chances of you getting COVID and dying are astronomically higher than getting blood clots from the.
Anyway, enough of that. Yeah,
I know it's like how. Yeah. Okay. So. Yeah. Those were some interesting interviews that went on. Moving on, we got a show coming up this Sunday. Now, as you guys are listening to this, the show has already happened. So instead of us doing a big preview of the show, we'll give our predictions, and you guys can hear if we were right or not. And that show is, Justin? Revolution. Did you watch the first Revolution?
Pretty sure. I still don't have any like continuity in my head with these AEW shows.
It's gonna take takes years, bro.
All Out, All In, all
Battle of the Belts, Beach Break.
Yeah. Like to me, they don't mean anything.
It's not that hard to remember because two of them are on holiday weekends.
Which one?
So All Out and Double or Nothing are always on like Labor Day and what is it?
July 4th.
No, Labor Day and like whatever other day. The other day we get off.
Labor Day.
It's not Veterans Day. Memorial Day. Memorial Day.
Labor Day. What?
Right?
Memorial Day and what's it?
Labor Day.
Okay.
So Double or Nothing that weekend in Vegas is going to be a holiday weekend. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
right, Memorial Day. Yeah, I was looking into that, but then I saw they were going to be at the Forum, so I think I'm going to do that instead.
Yeah, you decided to go to that. You thinking you're going to go to that?
I think so. The seats, it goes on sale on the 11th, so I think I got like a couple people that I know that are going to want to go, so I'm going to go to the Forum.
I got invited to go to Vegas to watch Revolution, and I think I could afford it, but it's just not optimal for me right now. I feel like I could do it, but I wouldn't be able to bring as much money as I would want to Las Vegas, you know.
To do it right. Well, Vegas sucks anyway.
It sucks, but I would want to go to Vegas, not even having to look at my account. Just do whatever I want, basically. And that takes a lot of money in Vegas. So I think also they have rumors that they're going to be announcing a Denver date soon. So.
Well, there you go.
So, yeah.
Because I know you have some relatives that live out in the LA area.
Mm-hmm. And they live in Ontario. They said they live like 1 mile from the Toyota Arena.
Oh, yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, but they're crazy, and they're going to go to Revolution and Dynamite and... I mean, I didn't know they were that
Wonderful
hardcore fans, but...
That's awesome. Good for them, man.
You know what's funny is I got them into AEW. They didn't even watch wrestling, so...
they're like your little babies.
Yeah, my sister... my sister said, I hate Cody. I'm like, I think I told you that, but I like hearing her opinion as more of a casual fan, but shit, this sounds like they're more hardcore than me now.
Yeah, I asked my friend Aaron that, we were fans back in the day. I've talked about Aaron a lot, if he's listening. But he, I asked him, like, when you came up with the idea, like, I like asking just AEW casual fans what they thought of Cody leaving. And my friend said I was just really surprised hearing that.
That's how we felt.
Yeah.
It is really surprising, and I can't wait to talk about him.
But we heard a lot of the things with, the whole backstage things changing and the responsibilities shifting around. So we weren't 100% surprised because you kind of heard that there was always some kind of, Well, anyways, whatever. But back to Revolution, I guess.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise, even if for those that are in the know. But so we got some matches at Revolution. If you're listening to this, you've seen them, and you can tell us if we're right or wrong, or if we fucked up. So pre-show, Hook versus QT Marshall. Some of these are easy to pick.
Fun. Hey man, this Hook guy's gonna be big, and I think they're bringing him up the right way.
Yeah, put him on the pre-show. He'll beat QT Marshall, and he'll move on to the next feud. So
maybe they'll make him in the Ring of Honor pure champion.
That would be random, but sure. I mean, it's possible.
But hey, speaking of random, check out what I'm about to drink.
Okay. A Coca-Cola Starlight Edition. So what's it taste like?
Here, look at what it tastes like right there.
Space flavored. That's something they only sell in Los Angeles, obviously.
And I love the mini cans because it makes me look like Andre the Giant.
Yeah, there you go. What does it taste like, though? It's like actually just strawberry banana, and they call it space flavored.
Close. It has a raspberry-ish cookie taste.
Wow.
I like it. I enjoy it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Justin.
Because there's always a rumor that space smells like a raspberry or kind
That
of
is not a rumor.
No, seriously, that's...
How could it not? How could nothing have a smell?
Because, well, you know, it's funny because, okay, and I know we're going off a little bit of a tangent, but one of the YouTube... We all have our kind of YouTube... Not guilty
rabbit
pleasures,
holes?
Our little random YouTube stuff we like to watch. I like to watch the What If videos. But I really like watching the stuff from the Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield, I think his name is.
Okay.
Have you heard of him?
I think that's a Resident Evil
mustache.
character.
Yeah, it does sound like that, right? Chris
Redfield.
Chris Redmond or whatever.
Yeah.
Redfield.
So Chris Hadfield.
And, you know, people ask him questions, and he says that space smells like kind of like a burnt steak or something. But he thinks it's not because of what space smells like, it's because of the sun and the heat and the radiation from going, you know, reflecting off of the metallicness of the spacecraft. So
Here's my argument as someone who's never been to space. You don't know what space smells like because no one's ever been in open space that stayed alive to tell about it.
There's a point in time where you come in from being on a spacewalk that when the kind of whatever kind of encapsulation encloses, that you do get like kind of that feeling for a minute, for a split second. So there you go.
But you're just smelling oxygen, right? Because otherwise you would die.
No, I don't know. You'd have to watch Chris Hadfield's videos for, but whatever he said made sense. So
does the soda taste like space? Is it? Would you say they did a good job?
Like I said, I don't know what space tastes like, but you know, like if you do a Google search that says what does space smell like, you'll kind of see. Like I get like a raspberry, like kind of sugar cookie-ish type of cola flavor, and it's kind of fun.
Well, I hope they make a victory flavored Coca-Cola so I can smell that for the first time in my life and have a taste of that. So,
yeah, I've had enough Topo Chico seltzers, hard seltzers. So
yeah, you wanted to try out the space drink. Well, it is fun. It is a fun gimmick. I have a Surge sitting downstairs, so yeah. Burger King. Okay, Layla Hirsch versus Chris Statlander. I hate to say this, but this is a match that really doesn't matter that much, even though I like both girls.
It's a good filler. It's a nice introduction for Layla Hirsch.
Yeah.
And it's a nice little filler thing for Chris Statlander.
And she's getting on the pre-show. What do you got on this one? I think Chris Statlander probably wins this one.
I think Statlander, yeah.
Yeah, with the logical booking. Next match, we're getting a little better here. We got the House of Black, Buddy Matthews debut versus... Actually, this match looks awesome. So, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews versus Pac and Penta and Eric Redbeard.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess they're doing him a favor.
Rowan? Is that his name?
Yeah, Eric Rowan. By the way, Alex Abrahantes, that's him, right?
Alex Abrahantes is, Penta's manager.
Doesn't he seem just like, I don't know, man. He's so dorky.
He's very flamboyant.
But I just think he's so dorky, though.
I think that's kind of the goal, though. I think he is supposed to be this idiot, like...
You know how he was led around in that... I mean, he was kind of put in that position, like he was serving as the interpreter for the interviews.
He still does the pre-shows.
And he was doing a lot of being the elite stuff. Where he was kind of the straight announcer guy. But he just seems so... He seems, number one, which I love about it, like we said earlier, he seems like he's having the goddamn time of his life. So more power to him. But it's just, I don't know. He just seems so corny when he walks around with the red glove.
Look, he's goofy as hell, dude. Like when like one of my...
But he's trying not to be.
I don't know about that, man. I hope he's self-aware because, you know, I've watched that cage match, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers, like 10 times, and his entrance is that he looks like skinny and lanky with his stupid gloves, and he's like dancing and stuff. And recently he came out in the Grim Reaper outfit. So
I saw a still shot of that. What the hell was that about?
Well, it's because Penta is playing his alter ego, Penta Darkness.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, Penta is I guess doing a different gimmick now. He's Penta of Darkness instead of the Penta El Cielo Miedo that we're getting. So Penta Oscuro. So I definitely think this is... Oh, man. I think this has to be House of Black because Buddy Matthews is just starting and you want to start him off with the win. And Malachi Black and Brody King are on the up and up.
Man, I would love to see at some point the House of Black just have all the gold in that. You know, have Alistair, or Malachi, have that AEW championship, and have those dudes have the tag title,
and then they all have the trios championship too.
See that maybe they need that. They need to introduce that already.
Well, and Tony Khan recently said that is going to happen. He's just hasn't timed it out right.
Did Ring of Honor have a trios title? They did, right?
I don't know.
I feel like anyways, I really think that Malachi Black has got to be a top star. It could be a year and a half from now. I mean, I think that would be a great guy to take down Adam Page at some point.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. And yes, ROH does have a 6-man tag title, so...
Currently held by...
Oh, jeez. I just erased the page. I think it was like...
I do that all the time. I close the window right away and I'm like, God damn it, why did I do that?
I think... was this even recently? The Righteous, Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch. Shane Taylor Promotions. Bandito, Flamita, and Ray Horace had it recently, too. So, yeah, that's a possibility. Throw the... But they do like the word trios, so they'd probably call it the ROH World Trios Championship. But yeah, I agree. I agree. Malachi Black, Brody King, that group, they have definitely they're in this beginning phase of their push. Malachi Black has been made to look very strong constantly. Pretty awesome, actually. So
you know, I'm a big Brody King fan. I know that's a lot is because
you've seen him a bunch.
Seen him a bunch, and you know, he's an LA
Hometown
guy and stuff.
Yeah. He's a cool guy. He seems like a real cool guy. I loved hearing his interview about how he was a lighting rig guy for years and making real good money, but he dedicated himself to wrestling. So,
well, and he's got quite the look, and he is pretty good in the ring.
Very athletic too, athletic big man. And you know it's cool. He works with Black so well because they both have the full tatted body beard look. You know, so. Good.
Yeah. And he's pretty athletic too.
Oh yeah, definitely. So
he was trained over at the Santino Brothers school out here, and you know, they'll teach you a little lucha libre out there. So he puts that into his act too, and just he's huge too.
By the way, this is a side note, but speaking of lucha libre, you hear about that Cain Velasquez stuff?
No. Oh yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Okay, it's so terrible.
I mean, yeah, if you read into the story, it's just, it's awful.
Yeah, he's going to do some time for that for sure. So,
he definitely did not handle that the right way.
No, not at all. Don't take justice into your own hands, people, even if you think you should, because it just does nothing well. This dude's going to end up in California State Prison, and those are not good places from what I hear at all to be in. So, anyways, after this we have Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Darby Allin, Sting, and Sammy Guevara with a six-man tornado tag team match. So it's all six of them just fucking each other up at once. It sounds like it's going to be an interesting spot fest.
Yeah, man. It seems like these AEW cards are starting to look like those Japan Road 2 shows with all those multi-man.
Well, okay, the other stuff was pre-show, but this will be on the main show, and it is a tornado match. So I mean, it's a little different, no tags. So I think it sounds fun. I think Andrade is gonna possibly pin Sammy, and that'll set up a title match. What do you think about that?
Andrade, yeah. That makes complete and total sense, and that would be a great match, too.
Yeah, well, actually, wait a second. They just wrestled last week.
No, they did, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. So, okay, well...
Two of the more athletic guys in all of pro wrestling.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in that match. So, I am actually going to pick Darby Allin, Sting, and Guevara to win. But that could go either way, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's going to be fun to see how they do the tornado aspect of that. Those matches.
I got to say, I haven't really been watching a lot of Rampage.
Yeah, I catch it here and there when it's on. It's one of those shows like you kind of forget about it, but it's actually really good when you watch it.
I know. It's just that I just cannot fit it in.
Yeah. It's something I catch. Like, I didn't watch tonight, but it's usually something I'll watch real late Friday and be like, oh, I forgot to watch it. So, but, I'll always tell you if there's anything great on it that you need to check out. Okay, next up, this is going to be, this match could be a match of the year type thing. Jurassic Express versus Red Dragon versus the Young Bucks, 3-way tag team match for the championship.
Wow.
Yeah. What do you think is going to happen here, man? Because, wow, this is one of those...
So, Young Bucks, Jurassic Express, who's the other team?
Red Dragon, Fish and O'Reilly.
I think one way you can go about it is that Jurassic Express retain, but set up some kind of just, disruptancy between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon that lead to a program. And more of a thing that can lead into the late match of the night.
I think that they should retain on this one. They haven't had that many big matches. And I think they're going to retain. But like you said, retain with thinking towards the future. So next up, Moxley versus Danielson. Who's going to win this one, dude?
Man, that's going to be tough.
So my guess is Moxley's going to win and really get the respect of Danielson. But either way, they're going to join each other after this match. So
who needs the win more?
Moxley.
Danielson coming off the loss.
I'm just picking Moxley, bro, but I really don't know. So
I'm looking forward to that one.
You got a pick on that one?
No, I mean I would just Moxley.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's who I picked too.
Yeah,
Jericho versus Kingston. This to me is a clear Kingston win. With the story.
Have you seen the shape that Jericho's got himself into?
So I made a complaint about that on Twitter recently because what is special about that? I don't get it. What's so special about? I mean, he gained weight on purpose to be a heel.
Did he do that on purpose?
Yeah, he said.
Has he said that?
Yeah, he's mentioned that multiple times. Like, yeah, he wanted to lose the 6-pack and get big to be a heel. And
Right.
I was saying on Twitter, like, he's a pro athlete. I mean, he should be able to know how to bulk up and slim down easily. So I've heard people saying, like, it's incredible what he's done. And it's like, well, he looked that way beforehand.
But he's a 50-year-old dude.
It's true, but I mean,
he's not 27 or 32. Like, this is pretty phenomenal for a guy to put the switch on and off like that.
Yeah, look, it's impressive, but also he's an athlete and a wrestler, and I feel like that's part of the gig is being able to. Obviously, not everyone can do it.
Christian Bale losing all that weight to be the machinist, and then gaining it back to be Batman.
Yeah.
It's similar to that, and that's crazy. I mean,
yeah,
you can't. I mean, I think it's got to be admired.
It's definitely something that no normal person can do. But I don't freak out as much about it because I mean, to me, it's like it's Chris Jericho. Like that's part of what he does.
Chris Jericho's the ultimate like kind of method dude, where he's like, okay, this next character, I'm going to be a little fatter.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm going to do. And then he makes all these little tweaks. And then this one, he's like, I'm going to get in some shape.
Yep.
But I've watched the whole Eddie Kingston, some of the Eddie Kingston Jericho stuff. Who is coming off as the heel on this one?
Well, Jericho's clearly the heel on this one, dude. So, because he's telling Kingston, like, I don't believe in you. You don't believe in yourself. But one of the weird things about this feud is that they've been like doing little kayfabe kind of breaking things repeatedly. So Jericho says, "Well, I was in a promo segment. You probably don't know what that means." And then he called.
Oh, I saw that.
He called Kingston the babyface. He's like, "Well, you're more." And so I don't know why,
it's
but
funny,
I like
though,
that
because Kingston's a really good promo. I don't know why he'd say that.
I think that the gimmick here is that Jericho is a sports entertainer, right? And he knows how to look at the hard cam. And Kingston is just from the streets.
Okay.
So
okay. I'm into it. I'm there for it. Let's do it.
Yep. I got Kingston on that one.
Yeah.
Keith Lee, Orange Cassidy, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Wardlow versus Christian Cage, face of the Revolution ladder match. This is going to be a fucking clusterfuck.
Oh, man. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, too. And what a great little change of pace match. If it's in that order.
Three big guys.
I'd love to see Orange Cassidy pull that thing down.
Okay, Orange Cassidy.
But I could see Wardlow getting it. And just having something to kind of hold over, MJF.
I'm going to pick the weird one. I'm going to pick Powerhouse Hobbs. He's been in the company for a while.
Okay, why not?
I'd love to see him in a TNT match. And I think he'd get really over by winning this match. But they could always do that Keith Lee thing. Tony likes to push new talent, right? So,
didn't Brian Cage win it the last time or something similar to this?
I don't even remember that last.
He got a world title shot out of it. Is this for the world title or is this for the TNT title?
This is for a shot at the TNT title, so the stakes aren't even that great, to be honest. So, but it's going to be awesome either way.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to see how Keith Lee fits into this.
Hey, they got to build the the guys that have held the TNT title have done a pretty good job so far in terms of making it seem like something.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
This is something that adds to the legitimacy. I mean, the one thing you can have about a title that make it bigger is have people that want it. So,
yeah.
There you go.
Yep. Do you think Thunder Rosa is going to be women's champion against Britt Baker? Because it's definitely possible.
She has as good a shot as anyone that she's defended against, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to... With the way they kind of throw around the women's belt more often than the men's, I'm going to say, yeah. I'm going to say Thunder Rosa.
I would actually go as far as saying we could see maybe a double turn or something.
That'd be interesting.
I think I could see a double turn. The fans do love Britt. And Thunder Rosa, with her presentation, I can see her having a dark side.
Yeah.
So, double switch. Let's do it.
All right. Wow, he's doing some deep booking here.
They need an iconic women's match moment that they need to match what they did in their last match, right?
Ooh.
So AEW needs that iconic women's match moment, so let's do it with this one.
Okay.
This is the one that we've all been kind of waiting for to come back, right?
True.
At Full Circle. This
Yeah.
seems to be the top match that they've had to offer in that women's
It's
division.
definitely
right?
the biggest women's match they've ever had. Yeah.
Yeah, so make it big and make Thunder Rosa a vicious heel and make Brie Baker the lovable...
That's Britt
dentist.
Baker, buddy. I know it's
Britt
late
Baker,
over
Brie
there,
Baker.
but...
It is. I'm okay, though.
CM Punk versus MJF. Dude, I honestly... I think MJF's going to win again, dude. I really do.
MJF is just incredible.
He's awesome.
I mean, for the age the guy is, the absolute, like, the promos are incredible.
Well, people are like, oh, but he's not very athletic. It's like, no, dude, he's actually awesome in the ring, too.
If you ever see a babyface MJF, you'll say, oh my God, that guy's athletic.
Oh,
You know?
yeah, for sure, dude.
He definitely holds back on the moves in his heel persona. And just the whole way, the little subtle things he does. He basically, at the end there, repeated a CM Punk Ring of Honor promo word by word.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard.
And I heard somebody played it back. There's like just all these little Easter eggs and the dude's I mean, he, I was talking about earlier where, oh man, it's going to be, we were talking about months, we've been talking about this for months, where it's like Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara and MJF are the kind of the future of AEW, and they're going to be, and Jungle Boy or whatever, but MJF is just kind of, and this is not a slight on those guys because I love all those guys, but MJF is just head and shoulders above.
Yeah, he's like that
young crop.
once in a generation style talent, man, for sure.
Yeah, and Tony Khan is probably in the back of his head like, man, I just want to get this guy skyrocketed now, but this is
Well, I think MJF just said that in
Perfect way to do it.
2024 he will be the highest paid wrestler in the world, and
whether it's with AEW or
exactly. So, which it's like, yeah, he might not be far off. MJF to me reminds me of Okada, and I don't mean like in any way in the ring or anything like that, but in the sense that like you just like. You're going to see him win at the end of matches over and over and over. Like early Okada, at least when he went on his huge title reign, like you knew the Rainmaker was coming. And I've kind of been trained that way with MJF, like, dude, he just wins and wins and wins and wins. And I think this is going to be no different. And I think it's going to build even more heat for him. And maybe CM Punk will take him someday, but I think they just love having MJF just beat CM Punk's ass. I think they like that.
I think that just kind of just thinking in the back of my head, is CM Punk here to put young guys over, or is he going to actually get a legit run at one day?
I think it's both, but I think right now he's putting younger guys over. That's one of his priorities, just like it's Danielson's priority, even though he's had his own little run. But I just think MJF's just going to keep on rolling, dude. I think he's going to steamroll until he's in the world title picture soon, and he wins that. So
it seems to me that AEW could use like a New Japan Cup style tournament or something where a guy like CM Punk or Keith Lee or some of those Andrade can, go through a run in this tournament, win 5 or 6 matches, and then get a title shot.
Well, the Owen Hart's coming up soon.
The Owen Hart. So it seems like you're never going to get these guys in that position. There's just too much.
Yeah.
But that's where Ring of Honor comes in, and maybe you give them another spot. I don't know.
Yeah. So can you make a guess for CM Punk versus MJF?
I think MJF's going to win.
And I think it's going to be super violent too, bro.
It's going to be crazy.
I think it's going to be super bloody. So,
and it's what's great about it is you're going to have probably 2 super bloody matches. Danielson and Moxley will probably have some color in it, I'd imagine.
Maybe, but it's also Danielson who likes to be more of a traditional wrestler. So they might just have a traditional wrestling match, It's possible.
But you're going to have two pretty violent, crazy matches.
Yes.
That could not be more different.
Well, the latter match is going to be pretty nuts, too, in its own way.
Right.
So,
well, that's more of a spot pet.
yeah, it will be.
Violent.
It will be, yeah. But, no, this card, dude, it looks so good. It's reminding me of All Out, kind of, and definitely a lot better than Full Gear. So finally we move on to Adam Page versus Adam Cole. I think this is a clean win for Adam Page. Adam Cole doesn't really lose a lot losing here. He's going to get pushed still. He's got his own little mini faction going on. And I think Adam Page is going to stay champion for a while.
I think, someone asked me how long do I think Adam Page is going to have the title, and I said at least to the summer.
Yeah, at least till Double or Nothing or even after that. So, they take this belt very seriously. People get long runs with the belt. We've seen that over time. There's only been 3 champions. So,
I can see that this belt, if it changes, it'd be when Kenny comes back.
Well, the beautiful thing is there's so many other people that can step into the position.
Yeah.
But if Kenny comes back, there's all sorts of people that can really get pushed and elevated. But we know that AEW likes, when someone wins that belt, they like it to be like this big story heading into that. Mm-hmm. So,
well, Kenny returning would be big.
It'd be huge.
But, I think this is an angle where we can see that next challenger, somebody come back and out at the end of that show.
Oh.
And the angle ends with that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that recently. Do we see Cesaro come out during the show? Do we see Jeff Hardy? I don't know if he can legally come out at this point, but for sure
Hasn't Jeff Hardy
Cesaro
pretty much signed, allegedly.
Well, he said he was going to AEW, like verbally, and then he tried to roll it back, like, "Oh, I didn't mean that. I swear I didn't say that." So
I was just going backstage.
Yeah, I'm just hanging out. So
catering, but I don't know who that next guy is, though. That's what's great about it is I don't know, but there's 7 or 8 guys who they could believably put in that mix. The winner,
Swerve Scott.
No,
that's who they also signed.
Oh, right. Okay, fine. But I don't think he's going to be in the world title picture.
Not anytime soon. No. But he could show up.
Any of the 4, I think, CM Punk, MJF, Moxley, Bryan Danielson.
Yep. Obviously, Page, Jericho, previous champions. So, those guys.
Just any of those 4 guys in the Moxley, Danielson, CM Punk, MJF. Those are the 4 kind of right below that tier.
Yeah. I like it because, I remember New Japan, I feel like they always had this 4-star booking philosophy, like you need 4 top guys. And actually, that's a great booking philosophy because it worked really well for them for a long time. You had, Okada, Naito, Omega, and Tanahashi at one point. And then, it changed to Ibushi, but it was 4 guys. But AEW has 6 dudes at that spot. So
or more.
First of all, yeah.
Do you think CM Punk ever holds that title?
I'd say I don't know.
It would have to come pretty soon.
Yeah.
It would have to come in this calendar year.
I don't know if he wants to put on 45-minute bangers every, month. So
that's what he's been doing. He did that with the MJF already.
Yeah, that's true. So I don't know. I guess that's kind of...
one 45-minute banger a month is better than doing 56 house shows a day.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Or being in the G1 and doing a banger every day.
And Adam Page is wrestling, don't get me wrong, but he's not fighting. He's not wrestling every night.
No, not at all. And MJF has a real cozy schedule.
Yeah.
He wrestles he wrestles barely once a month. Sometimes he doesn't even wrestle. So,
put a 10-minute promo from MJF is as good as a 45-minute 5-star match. So.
Well, and I texted you and I told you I thought his promo wasn't only good, the one where he like broke down, I thought it was innovative. I've never seen anything like that before, and I was fascinated by it because there's so many places you can go from there. But yeah, he kind of pretended, oh, I'm just evil and I'm the devil, but I think the story is that like no, like he was being honest at that very point in time.
Well, it was the whole like how someone becomes a villain, right?
Yeah. So
and the Joker has an origin story. Everyone's got an origin story of why why they are the way they are, and a lot of them people can become empathetic with.
Mm-hmm.
But then But then he comes back next week. Nope, I'm still evil.
Yeah, but
brilliant.
But yeah, it's laid out, and it's something. Again, they respect the fans, and we're going to be talking about that, I'm sure, more in the future. So I thought that was so innovative. I'd never seen anything like that. With the heel comes out, literally tears streaming down their eyes. Fascinating work from MJF. So
sometimes that whole angle would be blown minutes later, but they waited a whole week to, reveal it.
They did, and again, it's still there. It still happened, So, I mean, whether even though he kind of turned on it, oh, I'm the devil, I'm a demon, all that stuff, I'm a snake. It's still, he said that stuff still. It
still was true.
So, yeah. So, AEW Revolution, did we get it right, guys? If you're listening, you know if we did or not.
Yep.
So, and we'll be talking about that probably on our next show. We'll bring that up quickly and talk about it. Real quick here before we get out of here, to all the New Japan freaks, the Shindy Home freaks, New Japan fans, call them aficionados.
Still our first love right there, New Japan.
Yeah, New Japan Cup going on right now. Did you catch the first show?
I'm about halfway through the first show.
Okay.
Forgive me, I didn't do my homework.
It's okay.
Actually, on the freeze frame here, I have the middle of Naito. I'm not Naito, what am I saying? Taichi and your boy
Yano. Yeah, can I talk about spoilers then on that night?
I already know.
Okay.
What happened, so.
Yeah, I thought the night was average, but the Tanahashi Yo match was good, right? But the Okada Desperado match was so fucking good, and dude, it was brutal too. Like, Okada got beat up. He like got all bruised and freaking cut up. And it wasn't bloody like that, but he got chopped so hard that you're watching. It's one of those chops where you're like, God, how does he bear to even stand that? The visible bruising and but the thing about the match was, God, they really tricked me into thinking Desperado would win. You know how New Japan does that? Like, you're like, this guy never will win. And then by the end of the match, you're going, oh my God, go, do it, hit it. So there was also
incredible.
There's a spot there. They transition an Okada drop kick into a double leg dragon screw leg whip into a numero dos.
Oh no! See, this is where I might need a full night of sleep to watch that.
I think
this
so.
Might be my This might be my watching at the laundromat thing tomorrow.
You might, maybe for that one, because you don't want to fall asleep mid-match on that one. You're definitely going to want to check that one out. So, we have some stuff I wanted to talk about with the New Japan Cup. Really, it's only like an 8-person tournament. We know that, right? Like, there's 64 people or whatever, but there's a cool match coming up. Check this out. So
48 people, right?
48, yeah. Bushi is going to go against Will Ospreay, right? Will Ospreay is clearly going to win that, and he's going to go against El Phantasmo. So Ospreay versus El Phantasmo.
That'll be fun.
Does that not sound awesome, dude?
We've never seen that before. We probably
have seen it in tags and stuff, but I think ELP came in after Ospreay became a heavy, but I could be wrong. No, you're right. They did wrestle in Best of the Super Juniors. Yep, they did. Okay,
but they kind of had different personas.
Ospreay was a babyface then, and so yeah. We have, of course, Tama Tonga, who's now a babyface, and he's gonna probably going against Evil. So fascinating.
Tama has kind of low-key one of the very underrated promo Tama Tonga.
I agree with that. Yeah, but that's because all we get to see him do is yell and be angry.
He's just really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just real underrated guy there.
He always has a real weird voice compared to his look. He got kind of a high voice and like this weird kind of, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man, he gave this promo. I think it was on Impact or Ring of Honor. It was so good with him and Tongaloa. Check it out.
Was it a babyface promo?
Well, it was more of just like angry at Jay White promo.
Okay.
The voice, and he's really good.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough credit.
Well, I've heard that they have plans to push him, so I would love to see him beat Evil's ass.
Hey, and don't forget, he's got that win against Okada.
Yeah.
From the G1 that has not been reciprocated on, so he's got that in his back pocket too. So.
Yep. Here's some other stuff we're going to be seeing too. Kahn versus Taiji Ishimori. I think that'll be great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's interesting.
Very interesting, right?
Yeah.
We are going to see Zack Sabre Jr. versus Doki. It's like, what?
That'll be fun.
Is that not like a Suzuki-gun battle that's just going to be amazing? Hiromu versus Sho. Now, we've seen it before, but that's a really good match coming up.
Sure.
And then, of course, you're going to get... where is it here? Let me find it. Ishii versus Shingo.
Well,
which is always a great match. So that's some stuff coming up here. We got Fale, who's going to be going against Tanahashi, which sucks. And I'm really hoping they don't beat Tanahashi. I'm hoping Fale is a one and done here. So, and whoever wins that will probably be going against Naito. So, like, all sorts of exciting stuff in this tournament. I think once we get into the semifinals, it's going to be one banger after another.
By the way, watch Lions Roar.
Yeah.
If you can, on New Japan World. It's the documentary series on Fale and the Dojo in New Zealand.
I think you had talked about that. It is pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it is. It's only 20-minute episodes, so not a lot to digest. I'm not completely caught up. I think I've watched 5 or 6 of them.
Okay.
But really good TV, and it's probably the deepest you're going to get into a dojo. I know they did some stuff on the LA dojo, but I don't think we're ever going to see anything on the New Japan dojo.
Yeah, I mean, they had small stuff, canceled.
But we don't need anyone getting canceled.
No, it's a whole different culture there, and I don't mean like they do like sexist or racist things, but it's a whole different world.
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like we don't care if you have a ruptured Achilles tendon and you're going to go out there and hop on one foot,
Yeah, I see this picture here of the dojo boys carrying giant tires on a run. Wow, that looks pretty intense.
And Fale is just super light, you kind of appreciate the stuff that Fale has done for New Japan and his commitment to doing it, because he went through that program there, and I know he's not this big, mobile, athletic dude, but he has a big place in New Japan wrestling, in the last 10 years or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. No, he definitely has had a part in everything. Now, I'll tell you, everyone's like, oh, Jericho's cut down so much. No, when Fale lost weight, now he's probably gained it all back now, sad to say, but when Fale lost weight, that was impressive, dude.
They told him he was getting too small.
What?
I can't remember where I'm talking about it. It might have been on Thomas' podcast, but they told him, like, hey, man, we need you to be a monster. Don't get too skinny,
Jesus, dude. Well, dude, if someone told me that, I'd be like, well, shit, I can easily fix that. Like, there's so many froyo shops, that will easily help me. Yeah, gain some weight,
Okay. Just, you can just go to the ice cream. You don't need frozen yogurt.
A little too healthy?
A little bit, yeah, a little too healthy.
I'll tell you, I got some Little Debbie's ice cream right now.
Ice cream?
Yeah, they make Little Debbie's ice cream, like zebra cake ice cream now.
Oh, nice. And did they make it the oatmeal sandwich?
Yes, I have the oatmeal sandwich ice cream right now.
Oh, wow. Okay. I introduced my kids to the oatmeal cookie ones.
Those are good, huh?
They were like, yeah, they're pretty good.
The only thing is, you don't want to buy them when say you buy them for the kids, but you're actually buying them for yourself. That's a bad situation to get into.
Well, of course.
So, but, the honey buns are pretty good too. Microwaved for like 30 seconds. You live next to a froyo shop, by the way? I heard in LA they're everywhere.
Not really, actually.
Did that fad die down?
There's a Yogurt Land, And we have Yogurtland out here is mostly the big one. I don't know if they have that.
Did they ever have TCBY?
Yeah, in like 1987.
They were ahead of their
and
time.
Menchie's was pretty big.
Is that like a Jewish place? Jewish yogurt shop?
It does kind of sound like that. It's you serve it yourself and they weigh it.
Oh yeah, we had one like that here. I like the
Yogurtland.
the bubbles you could put in there. What are they like?
Yeah, Yogurtland and Menchie's are those. And then they had Pinkberry. I don't know if that was something out by you guys.
Not by us, but it had like national exposure, so we heard about it.
It's going under a little bit though. We had one actually walking distance and it just closed. It closed a while ago.
COVID probably fucked them a little bit.
COVID, I think it was around that, yeah.
So makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, man. One more thing for you guys. If you like Stardom and you haven't watched, Kairi's going to be wrestling soon. Also, I really recommend Starlight Kid versus Azumi. Look that match up and go watch that. That was so good. The Sayaka and Tanya match wasn't as good. It was a little botchy, the next one, but that first the Starlight Kid match was great. High-speed championship. So another thing that people can go watch. We will be back here in a couple weeks. We have some new subjects we want to talk about. We won't spoil it now. We'll talk about Revolution for a little bit and whatever's in the news at that time. So,
say you want a revolution.
Yeah, they do. They want.
Well,
What song is that again?
Change the world. The Beatles, right? Say you
want a revolution. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Sorry, I haven't seen the Beatles documentary yet, so I'm out of touch.
Okay, I haven't either.
Well, unless there's anything else you have to say, Justin?
I have nothing to say to you people.
Whoa. Then we are going to get out of here, guys. Thank you for listening to Wrestling and we will talk to you all later. Peace.